Hi everyone, my name is Morgan and welcome to my channel. Today I will be discussing the paradox of choice, which is a psychological phenomenon that describes how having too many choices can actually lead to dissatisfaction, stress, and decision paralysis. This concept was popularized by Barry Schwartz in his book entitled The Paradox of Choice: Why More is Less. He argues that people perceive having more choices as positive and empowering, but actually excessive choices can lead to very negative outcomes for individuals and society. So I'm going to quickly cover some key aspects of his theory of the paradox of choice. The first main idea is decision overload. When faced with a large number of options, people easily get really overwhelmed. This leads to decision paralysis or procrastination. And then when people do choose an option, they're less likely to be satisfied with that option. One study addressing the paradox of choice found that medical researchers had actually found so many different ways of modeling human biology in vitro that it has slowed down medical research because so much time is devoted to finding the best model. The second concept is escalation of expectations. Having more and more options just raises the bar. Individuals become super focused on finding the perfect option. And people are way more likely to be disappointed if the option chosen doesn't meet their now super high expectations. One study exploring the paradox of choice in voting behavior addressed this phenomenon that most people don't actually like the candidate that they're voting for. They're just voting for the lesser of two evils. For a lot of people, voting has become choosing the person that you dislike the least, or the person that you feel like is the least destructive. The study found that the more choices voters had, the less time they spent researching the candidates. And many people made snap judgments by over-focusing on just one aspect of the proposed policies: regret or self-blame. With more options available, individuals experience greater regret and self-blame if their choice doesn't turn out as expected. They may spend a lot of time wondering about if they had chosen differently. Studies show that consumers that are offered more choices are more likely to regret their purchasing decisions. Diminished satisfaction. Despite having more choices, people are actually less satisfied. People usually think they'll be more satisfied if they have more options, but usually the opposite is true. This is because the perceived opportunity cost of not choosing the other options diminishes the enjoyment that someone gets from the option that they did choose. They're always thinking, what if? If you've heard about the paradox of choice before this video, you've likely heard about it in the context of online dating. One study has found that the paradox of choice leads to a huge trend of loneliness and people feeling dissatisfied in their relationships because they perceive a lower relationship quality. It's this thinking that if there are infinite fish in the sea and you settled for this one person, then you could have been happier if you had been more patient, chosen better, or found somebody else, and that person is out there somewhere. It's this idea that the grass is greener on the other side and you could be way happier with somebody else right now. Reduced autonomy. Having too many choices can lead to a perception of reduced autonomy and control. Instead of feeling liberated by choices, people feel constrained by this pressure to make the perfect choice. One interesting study about the paradox of choice in a human trafficking situation actually showed that migrant women fleeing sexual abuse were more likely to get caught up in abuse again. Due to their history of trafficking, they were very naive and did not understand what their future could realistically look like. Obviously, in an abuse situation, it's hard to call their situations choices. There are a lot of factors involved that weren't addressed in the study. But this study was really trying to explore the perception of free will in a coercion situation. It shows that the paradox of choice can even be used to confuse a victim in an abuse situation. The paradox of choice has implications for various aspects of life, including consumer behavior, romantic relationships, career choices, social behavior, and overall well-being. To mitigate the negative effects of excessive choice, some strategies could include limiting your options, prioritizing your preferences, and focusing on the most important criteria or values when making a decision. Additionally, cultivating mindfulness and gratitude can really give you a clarity of mind here. With these skills, people can appreciate and derive satisfaction from whatever choice they choose, whether or not the grass is actually greener on the other side. Thank you everyone so much for watching this video. As you'll see, my channel's pretty small, so a like or subscribe will go a really long way in boosting me in the algorithm and getting my videos out to more people. All the studies that I've referenced in this talk are cited in the description, so check that out if you want more detailed information.